So funny how things have changed in the solo lane as the season has progressed, because it used to all be focused about that early game in the solo lane. The Ravens of the world are now like shaking their boots against the Vamanas.
And that's sort of the difference between the online and the offline meta. Online, you see teams pick a lot of early game, a lot of you know, like early pressure. That's because people not only play like sort of like they play less careful online, but also teams are willing to take more risk online. Here on lane, everything's a lot more calculated. Everyone plays more careful, and they take less risks.
It's also because you're your last moment to get to the Super Regionals as well.
It's just so funny how like two gods that have been so dominant during these offline portions, during the LAN portions, have been Ra and Vamana, and neither of those gods saw any buffs, any nerfs. No items that they used got buffed heavily. I mean, Rod of Asclepius a little bit for Ra, but it's just kind of like, oh yeah, these gods are really good, and we totally forgot about
Just for the nerds out there as well, I'm going to point this out. Rod did get buffed because there'd be a few nerds very upset. His passive did get a bit of an increase, okay?
That was multiple patches
Listen, I know what Twitch chat and Reddit are like, okay? And they will be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about because you did get a buff. You don't know what you're going on about. So
is that how Reddit and Twitch sound?
That's a typical impersonation of a person.
Rod definitely sort of flew under the radar in the online stages, because I do believe he would have been a good pick, since he has quite good early game clear and pressure. And it's no surprise. And I'm kind of surprised to see EnVy not take away the Thor and force sort of SoaR onto a more like lower tier jungler with the sort of like, you know, sort of synergize with their bans. But the Raw pick is not too bad either. Raw, it takes away a huge comfort pick from SoaR, and it takes away and it gives them a sort of strong mid laner. I'm
really surprised we didn't actually see the Janus come out there straight away from SoaR, along with that Thor as well. Aggro, he went so well from game one. Why switch it up?
Because there's no way EnVy's picking Janus here for two reasons. Number one, they already have their mid laner, and that's Raw. Number two, even if they didn't have their mid laner, Kiki's not going to be playing Janus. That's just not in his god pool. So they can save that and get two priority picks instead. Sobek does very, very well up against Raw, can pluck him out of position. Raw's got nowhere to go after that. Plus, the healing reduction on his 3 helps a lot up against that heal, and then Thor on Andinster, not a whole lot else.
Not only that, it's Jigz as well, right? I mean, we've seen him actually get it banned out against him just in case.
It's sort of the counter to healing and counter to Raw comps in general is picking an all-in comp. A comp that can sort of just run at the enemy team and just kill them. That's sort of what Sobek and Thor do. They press forward and they just run at them.
Well, PBM is going to get a priority pick this time around. He's going to opt for the Bacchus before the counter invade, so they can't focus him more like they did last time around.
A whole lot of setup right now for Kiki in this middle lane, and I believe this is very similar to the composition that EnVy ran in their only win so far here this weekend. It was a Terra instead of the Bacchus. Obviously not going to get that this time around, but still a lot of setup and good ideas here for Kiki.
Still got no clue why we're taking so long for this pick. It should be Janus here, surely, right? Is there any reason not to go Janus here, Drello?
Honestly, I would probably go Janus just to sort of, you know, draft a pick comp and all-in comp to sort of, you know, like kill them and snowball off it. But Jing, it's a very strong AEC pick. Met plays it very well. I'm honestly curious to see what they pick out of the mid lane, because it's obvious to me that they're looking for something that's more lower tier.
Very true. Rama going to be banned out from SoaR here and don't want to give anything over to Oceans if they can help it for the most part. Focus on Oceans now, Aggro.
May as well. We'll have to see if they're going to ban out the Izanami that he played earlier today. But you're right. I think the Janus pick there would have made so much sense, because it lets Ra be... You can never be safe if you're Ra in the jungle. You can just... The whole team's going to be on top of you in a split second. Maybe SoaR just trying different things out, you know, feeling very confident right now. Maybe they just want to get different strategies going for tomorrow.
Well, EnVy's looking towards the solo lane here with the bans against Baskin with this Vamana this time round, Drelo. Do you like the idea from these two teams in the counterban phase?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind a Vamana Alma pick. It takes away 2 very hard carry solo laners away from SoaR, and it sort of puts Baskin on a lower tier solo laner. But I would be surprised to see them not ban Janus, because, like Aggro was sort of hinting at, Janus, Thor, Sobek, all characters kind of just press forward and run at Raw.
So it's either going to be Amaterasu or it's going to be more than likely the Janus with the final ban here. Not a big surprise if they do that, but it's SoaR's first of all. They're going to hit the Hunter one more time with the Neath ban.
Just try to keep away as much setup for Ra as possible with the Neath ban. Not really worried about the Izanami, I suppose. I'm interested. I wouldn't be surprised if Jing is actually the mid pick here. I mean, Snoopy's played a lot of it before.
Could be true.
Xenotronics likes to play the Jing middle. Snoopy very comfortable on Hunters. I wouldn't be surprised.
On top of that, the Bacchus counter as well. I mean, Bacchus can't really initiate because you can just flop away off that one as well, so the knockups don't really come into play as much, which means the setup potential is a little bit lower there.
Actually, without a doubt. Plus, you've got the knockup off the Thor ultimate, off the Thor wall. You can do a lot of really great poke with that. However, like Drelo said, Met's also very, very comfortable on this god. This is really, has the potential to be a flex pick.
Definitely a flex pick, but I think with Janus left up here, I really do expect SoaR to go for that now. I don't see a reason not to.
Well, the only reason not to for me is that Soul is still open, and that seems to be Met's most comfortable god. And you may as well give it to him. It would round out your team comp decently, giving you some magical damage in the Hunter role as opposed to in the mid lane. But instead, they're going to lock in the Ravana for Baskin, a god that he plays a ton of.
And still leave it as a flex. And on top of that, you know, I believe it was you who were actually playing a play test before the event happened, Aggro, and you asked Baskin, was it?
Oh yeah, I know. It was Nick on our team. Nick,
Pretty Hair,
exactly. He asked Baskin what to pick, and then the enemies picked Ravana, and Baskin goes, "I don't know, dude. That's my whole god pool. I got nothing else."
So, well, at least he's going to get it for this game as well. It's back over to Envy here. They're going to have the Sol for themselves this time around, more than likely for Oceans, and then Cyclone. Well, he's going to pick something into the Ravana. What would you expect it to be, Trainer?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Wukong. Could also be an Erlang Chung, like he showed in the last set. He's more uncomfortable playing it. But I'm sort of expecting a Wukong.
Yeah, Wukong was locked in. Good call there from you. And SoaR will definitely go to Ocean. So the final pick for SoaR in the game 2 on the second day of Group D is going to be... Aggro, call it now, quick.
Freya.
I love the hover and the hesitation there. Could be Freya, though. I don't mind that idea, Freya. What do you think, Drilo?
It could be. I mean, it could be a magical AC, but I think it's going to be Janus or Raijin.
I am shocked.
All right, he got to see it hovered before he said it.
Listen,
that's not fair.
Listen, you should get it right the first time, Aggro. Don't make excuses for your poor performance. Okay, well, in this game, Drilo, if you get one Neon.
Definitely SoaR.
What about you, Aggro?
SoaR.
No one cares what you have to say. The casters are ready. Janus and totally take it away.
SoaR's going to win.
Don't worry, Aggro. I really don't care what he has to say there. Do you?
I kind of care. Just a little bit.
Just you have to. Is that kind of like
they pay me
you don't
to
want?
care. They pay me to care.
He paid you. You're gonna get that bump. He's gonna give you his hourly gems.
Yeah, he's gonna give me a little bit of his gems. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well,
But, so looking at SoaR's composition here, honestly, they were teasing the Janus pick for quite a while. They had so many opportunities to go for it, and I feel like they wanted to kind of stray away from it just to see how EnVyUs would adapt, whether or not they would take it away from them or ban it.
I mean, I almost want to think that this is SoaR feeling incredibly confident at beating Envy no matter what their draft is, and not wanting to pigeonhole themselves. You know, that Bacchus, Janus, Thor, you thought it would have been, you know, 2 of those 3, and actually only the Thor gets locked in for Andinster, obviously a very dynamic god, but they really don't want people to identify how important that Bacchus is to them, I believe.
And that's something that Jigz has been known for, is his Bacchus play, but he's also been playing a lot of other aggressive support, so this Sobek makes sense in the grand scheme of things, especially when SoaR and Andinster, they always want to play aggressive. We saw him making those speed buff plays right off the bat with those Thor ultimates.
I mean, we talked about how good Jigz' Bacchus is, but to be honest, I feel like his Sobek was more predominant in the spring split for him. We saw him really lean and rely on it, a god that obviously very dynamic in fights, can either set up with the pluck, although you have to rely on mechanics, and that's good for Jigz. That's what he's known for.
And on top of this, you have the anti-heal option on block onto Skeeledon. Nice use of the purification. So there's going to be a small window to maybe find the kill at level 3.
It's possible. I really at least think some form of invade or early game attempt to gank him is going to happen. So we're incredibly happy with that. Now, this does hurt Jigz' clear in the early game a little bit, so Met and Snoopy might be a little bit slow to lane.
They're not going to have the Wrath. They're opting to go for the Shell instead, so that's going to allow maybe EnVyUs to get some lane pressure in the dual lane. And looking at it, it's going to be Bacchus Soul matched up against this Sobek Jing Wei.
I want to start on PolarBearMike here. I'm going to be very interested to see if he pulls that enemy strat that we saw where enemy, when they ran the Zeus, they popped the sprint after the red buff to get their mid laner and side lanes to lane so they could really take control of them. That could be a good idea here.
See, I haven't done the math or the min-maxing of it here, but it's interesting to see how quickly that gets you to mid versus Wrath pickup, right?
It's possible. I mean, it's at least a couple extra, but I think they just like the sprint more.
No, he doesn't do it.
Not going to happen, but there is going to be an invade. We saw Andinster start at those mid-harpies. They're going to be looping around here. The blue buff getting pretty low, but Andinster's going to be here in time, focusing on Skeeledon instead. And that Wrath, I believe, did secure it for Baskin. No, excuse me.
There was no Wrath. There was actually the one from Baskin that was getting the last hit. Skeeledon's ring bounces was already down. Clearly not expecting the invade, and Skeeledon already at level 1, really struggling for experience.
And we saw how brutal that is because Snoopy was right there. I mean, out of position, we saw Andinster and Baskin on minions in the right-hand side. That was a call from CycloneSpin, but only level 1. There's no option for Skeeledon to go aggressive.
I think this is the first invade at the beginning of the game that we've actually seen at a buff
Nice,
this whole
backstab.
weekend. Yeah, really
Beautiful.
nice mechanics coming out of Snoopy. He's seen that play one too many times to fall for that one.
And I mean, even Andinster there, you saw him going around that corner, making sure that if Snoopy got hit by the ring bounce, it wouldn't bounce in between them. And I mean, if that does bounce, that's really scary for Snoopy there.
And I love the way SoaR have already started the game ever since forcing the Purification onto Skeeledon. Now being able to pluck Oceans as well. The Disapparate is coming out, able to mitigate a lot of that damage. And now, in the grand scheme of things here, Andinster has staggered the speed buffs. So he's going to be able to go aggressive yet again onto Skeeledon. I don't even think Skeeledon will be level 5 for when that speed buff comes up.
And look at this, Andinster. We don't see this too often, but the pre-level 5 gank, not going to happen though. Good positioning from CycloneSpin, staying close to that wall, so he's just going to split a little bit of that experience and now get his own blue.
And getting that own blue away from CycloneSpin is just so important. Playing the Sun Wukong relies very heavily on utilizing all those cooldowns to clear the wave, and because he doesn't have that blue buff, it means that he can't use his abilities in between the wave just to poke out Baskin.
We've already seen Cyclone had to burn his teleport. I mean, if Andinster finds a gank, that's going to be really detrimental to CycloneSpin if he misses a couple waves of farm here. And we're seeing the difference in this dual lane too, where last time it was Metyankey with the soul getting the lane pressure and Oceans on that Jing Wei. Now it's reversed. I mean, Metyankey on the Jing Wei, still with the pressure though.
Just pressure all across every lane for SoaR, whether it's the dual lane, mid, or the solo. And because of the teleport that was down that you mentioned from CycloneSpin, getting the tier 2 boots, this allows Baskin to get the tier 3 and make a power play invade yet again on either the speed or the blue. That's coming up in 40 seconds.
Well, Andinster is level 5. He's going to go for those mid elementals, and he is going to be spotted out by Kiki, so I don't think we're going to see a gank on the right-hand side. But Robin just rotating over. And this left-hand side, I mean, this has just been brutal for Oceans. He's burned through every single potion, and he's sitting on less than 30% health.
And now Andinster rotating in middle. He's going to be able to clear this wave out first. Not even going to probably wait for Snoopy. He needs to make a decision of where he wants to invade. He still has the speed buff available to be able to make this invade. He's going to spot out the rotation from Kiki and Skeeledon underneath. He can make the same exact global ultimate play, but Skeeledon recognizing this, spotting him out.
And looking at that, Baskin just backed as well. And so he's going to have the ability to teleport in if they do go for the invade. And you can see Metyankey just hiding around that corner, waiting for someone to pop up there. Ocean still very low. I think he was looking for the Gust ultimate over the wall.
Yeah, but the rotation from PBM on the right-hand side is what allowed EnVyUs to now defend their own speed buff. I'm surprised that Andinster didn't adapt his style, right? That's too predictable. 2 games in a row to go for another speed buff invade. I was thinking that maybe he was going to switch things up and go for a red buff invade instead. That would have been probably the smartest option for him, to be aggressive still.
It's been up for them, but honestly, good job by Envy for kind of fixing their rough early game, right? They had that purification wasted, they got invaded on blue, but right now they're only down about 600 gold, whereas I think last game they were down about over 1,000 at this point.
Yeah, and then we still see a little bit of a lead for Baskin, about 200 gold lead with the Warrior tab be completed. He's still going to be very aggressive in that laning phase. Just now, CycloneSpin hit level 7, Baskin with about like half a level to a level lead, but Envy, they want to start this Gold Fury. Nobody from SoaR even close by. Snoopy does have ultimate, but I don't think he knows this is going on.
This is going to be free. I mean, unless Snoopy can ult right now, there is no Wrath. And zero idea. Envy sneak the Gold Fury away from SoaR, evening up the lead there too.
This is really nice for Envy because they did this last game where they got the Gold Furies, but they were losing too much despite getting the Gold Furies. They were losing their speeds, their blues, and then the reds consistently. But this time around, with the rotation from PPM earlier on, they had a 4-on-3 around the speed buff, defending it very safely. It didn't seem that SoaR really knew how to adapt without getting those aggressive plays, so as a result, Envy sneaking one away.
Well, SoaR now starting to get aggressive there. You can see Kiki forced into the purification, but double tap off the mark. You don't see that from Andinster too often, especially not this weekend.
No, not at all. I guess like if he can't make these aggressive plays, sometimes he might be a little bit on edge or a little bit just uneasy.
Is he okay? He is maxing the hammer too, so we know Andinster going for that really poke-oriented style where he gets those double taps and then kind of teleports to the hammer, sets up for Snoopy to finish him off.
Now the question is he going to get that level 2 Tectonic Rift at level 8 just to be able to confirm the double tap and try to set up Snoopy for the unstable vortexes? He wants to be aggressive with this hammer, but he hasn't been able to get the same kind of momentum as the first game.
And this is really good for Envy, and I think their comp also going to work a lot better together. They have a lot of gods that can set up Kiki here. Obviously, the Bacchus and the Naja are going to be the main two, but even once CycloneSpin, Marauder's not in this game. Once CycloneSpin starts rotating, I mean, if he can find Ox stuns, it's strong.
But Andinster in the sky gonna land onto CycloneSpin. The double tap to stun the Berserker Barrage. First blood. Baskin with another lead now over CycloneSpin. This is gonna probably allow him to continue being aggressive even further, finishing off the breastplate.
Again, just great presence from Andinster there and perfect execution. Lands down, finds the stun, perfectly in-hand cancels, and the wall to block off CycloneSpin just in case.
And that's what you really need to do, abusing CycloneSpin. He and Oceans is the carries of EnVyUs. The side lanes are trying to get into the mid to late game, but if you disrupt their flow in the early game, then it just seems that Envy kind of collapses upon themselves. So SoaR doing a good job getting the early lead, but it's not as dominant as it was in the first game.
And again, despite that Gold Fury, Envy now down 1,000. They've just been getting out-farmed consistently. Now, First Blood obviously contributing to that a little bit, but really, Envy have not been able to play their own game this entire tournament. They've just been responding and reacting to other teams.
But they haven't reacted to the overcommitment from SoaR. They had to invest 2 ultimates to find the kill onto CycloneSpin, and in response, Envy hasn't been grouping up to look for a play. They're grouping up trying to defend their own blue buff yet again, but if you have a 4-man split on the blue buff, you're losing so much experience.
Oceans has rotated to this, and you can see Metyankey at his own back, so man advantage for Envy, and they don't utilize it at all. Again, just letting SoaR kind of walk into their jungle. Oh, nothing's going on here. All right, we're gonna leave. Is that okay? Thanks, Envy.
Yeah, and this allows Metyankey to be able to solo the red buff, trying to continue to look for more of these 1v1 trades with Oceans, almost finishing off the Devil Gloves. And this is something Jingwei really wants to do. Always look for these power spike plays, utilizing that passive to its fullest.
Oh, good damage on a Jigz there. Surprised to not see the belly flop into raw snipe. I mean, that would have been really close to killing him.
That probably would have gotten the kill, honestly, with the Intoxicate after the belly flop with the Searing Pain. Should have found the kill onto Jigz.
Skeely.
But the question is, would have been more follow-up coming out of SoaR?
And a good, nice reaction time from SoaR there. Recognize Skeeledon's looping around, and they avoid it again, but Oceans gets soloed.
Goodness.
That's been a kill we've been waiting on since level 3, and here comes Snoopy as well. SoaR have an opportunity to force something, but it's just the ult to get Metyankey out in case Envy had collapsed.
The side lanes are collapsing is what's happening for Envy, as CycloneSpin getting ganked, Oceans getting soloed. I would have never thought that Oceans would get soloed in a long time, especially by Metyankey, because he's, like we mentioned before, he's just been coasting through the series, I'd say, this whole weekend.
And now, another gank onto CycloneSpin. You can see he had to drop that Ox early, a little bit worried about the commitment from SoaR there. Pops into his ultimate, heals up a little bit, and Andinster out of position. He quickly takes to the sky here. Could come down. We do see the collapse from SoaR.
Kiki using his heal, so now he's not going to have it for this little skirmish, getting body blocked consistently by Andinster, taking a little bit of more poke, but now Baskin jumping in, finding the kill. They're not done yet. PBM's jump is down.
And now he's trying to get away. Good Intoxicate, but everyone else on Envy is just watching this happen. PolarBearMike very low. Jigz finds the kill onto him, and a portal also lets Snoopy get out. He's getting chased by CycloneSpin right now, but trouble for Skeeledon under the tier 1. Cyclone does pick up Snoopy in the end there, so Envy do answer back.
2 for 1 favoring SoaR. Snoopy unfortunately had to use through space and time, trying to save Metyankey after the solo kill. Didn't really quite need to use through space and time there. He just threw it out there in case somebody would cancel the back from Metyankey.
Ooh, one more wave. That's not good.
No, not at all. And now that's going to allow Andinster to continue the aggressiveness. The speed buff is up, and that's exactly where SoaR are going to collapse onto. They just don't ever care about Gold Fury.
No one's even close. Kiki has the snipe, but he's focused on that wave at mid. He wants the guaranteed farm. He can't have it gone under tower when the experience lead really starting to show once again. A good job by SoaR just farming up across the map, taking their opportunities. It's been a little bit slower here in game 2. And surprisingly enough, we have been praising Envy side lanes, that these were the 2 lanes that if Envy were going to win games, it was going to be off these guys making big plays, and instead it's the opposite. It's them getting camped, them getting soloed, and them just not living up to expectations.
It's just SoaR on a whole other level at this point, honestly. EnVyUs have not come prepared at the same rate that SoaR have. We see so many different strategies coming out of SoaR, and their aggressive playstyle has always been working out for them. They're always min-maxing their farm, being able to invade whenever they freely want to. They know when they can take these calculated risks, and despite not even doing the gold here yet again.
I was about to say that.
2,500 gold in the lead.
Bates. Oh, PolarBearMike noticed it real fast. And a nice juke. He's actually going to jump aggressively onto Snoopy, who burns the purification. But again, no follow-up from EnVy at all. They were in a position, but just didn't feel confident in the fight.
Baskin making the rotation, getting stunned out by Skeeledon. The raw heals on top, but Jigz could look for initiation with Metyankey and Andinster on the left-hand side, though.
Good job, too, knocking Skeeledon up out of that raw heal, but they still will have it up very soon. Kiki trying to keep his team healthy. EnVy grouped as 5 in the mid lane.
And as a result of overcommitment to trying to defend that tier 1 mid tower, Andinster sneaks away the red buff being picked up by Metyankey. EnVy just, now they were doing a good job with PBM rotating to defend these buffs, splitting too much experience, but now as the game progresses, SoaR are starting to pick apart the weaknesses.
Mike does manage to get over the wall, but Oceans is going to be forced back as well, and those boars go in the way of SoaR. Just continue. And look at this. Just they're so scared. They don't want to push up. And SoaR have no interest in Gold Fury fights at all. No, they have zero intent on going for the Gold Furies.
They don't have the Raft to confirm it, and you're having to always worry about Kiki's ultimate. That's a big factor, as well as the damage coming out of Oceans. The Stellar Burst, the Supernova is no joke to be around that little Gold Fury cave.
And now SoaR looking really good again, but EnVy, I mean, they're managing to stay in it right now, and we saw the damage that PBM was able to put out with just the shoes of the Magi there onto Snoopy, getting him down to less than half by himself. But again, EnVy, they're just watching these initiations. They're not following up.
It seems that the calls are being made by PBM, right? He's the initiator, he's the leader of this team, which is a very impressive thing for a rookie, I would say, to do. You know, playing for Eagle last year, having to go from playing with Zatman, who was leading the team, to now having to lead veterans such as CycloneSpin and Kiki. I respect PBM for what he's done, but he has to have his troops listen to him and follow up.
I mean, it's just been discoherent. No one on EnVy has been really working together. We're seeing these flops, no raw snipes after them, and that's kind of the combo you're looking for. We haven't even seen Skeeledon ult yet, once.
No,
have
not
we?
at all. Oh my god, that double tap just chunking away Kiki. Now going to be sitting in his heal for a little bit longer. SoaR grouping up for another invade on the speed buff there.
And confirmed here, Andinster is out of position. Skeeledon finally goes aggressive, finds Andinster into the sky. Waiting for him is PolarBearMike. Quick Sanctuary, though, going to immune the ult from Kiki. Now Skeeledon caught out by Baskin. He's going to jump in place with that ultimate, finish him off. Kiki, no mana. And here comes Andinster, Snoopy, the rest of SoaR piling into the mid lane. Jigz takes out PBM, and it's only CycloneSpin left alive.
He's trying to defend the tier 1 mid tower, but SoaR have no real interest trying to continue past that tower line there. Instead, they got the speed buff. Now they're going for the right side mid Harpies, and it's like a clockwork for SoaR. They have all these patterns that they're going for, even plucking CycloneSpin, catching him before the ultimate even goes off. 3 dead, and with the Ra having to go back to base, that allows SoaR a small window to go for the Gold Fury, even grabbing tier 1 mid tower at the same time.
That was really frustrating for CycloneSpin as well. We saw his camera just hands in the air, just really mad, I think, even at his own play. Met's going to solo Gold Fury, get a little bit low, but I mean, everyone on EnVy was either back at base or not in position. Kiki just came out from spawn. You know, Skeeledon was dead, Cyclone was dead. 8-1 right now, and SoaR are looking like, I mean, we already knew they were the best team in this group, but just to dominate EnVy so hard.
It's just like there's nobody in this group that can, I feel, even touch SoaR. I mean, granted, Denial did split with them earlier on today, but to be honest, I think SoaR still were doing a good job holding their own. Like, they were down a lot of gold. They made a small comeback. I think they were down 7,000 gold against Denial, made their comeback run. But I think it was that one Fire Giant play from Heroin that really caught Snoopy's Agony out of position.
I mean, talking to Yannick, he said, you know, he didn't really feel like Denial won that game. He felt more that they lost that game, that they didn't play up to the standards they put to themselves. Now EnVy trying to get us, trying to get farm anywhere on the map. 4 people rotate to the left-hand side, 3 people split the boars, and Andinster just watches it, and just there's nothing they're going to be able to do.
Baskin's level 18 at the 15-minute mark on Robin.
Hey man, you know,
it's just Baskin doing Baskin things, man.
I feel like this is like my ranked game, right? I make one mistake, and all of a sudden the other guys 10 levels above me, I can't do anything, and I've lost the game, and my teammates are flaming me.
And this is true about what CycloneSpin said about Baskin in his interview, how Baskin is just so dominant during the early laning phase and just so dominant in general in team fights. Baskin has been making the rotations, using his ultimate to cut the distance, forcing out every sort of relic, every single ultimate defensively.
Kiki not going to be able to do much here. Andinster doesn't chase under tower, lets Baskin tank it up for him. Jigz finds the last hit. Andinster looking to come down right now, has Skeeledon very low. go. Skeeledon trying to get away, but it's not going to happen. Baskin finds him, and now Andinster is doing the back harpies
in front of CycloneSpin as he goes into the sky. But now Snoopy in a little bit of trouble. Sprint's going to save him for now. Nobody really going to chase down a Janus player. But now Metyankey's made the rotation. CycloneSpin going into the Yachts, but the agility coming out, trying to find Oceans. Disapparate's about to come
1
out.
second.
Sanctuary being used, but Jigz, Sky, going in. They're not going to find the kill.
Met's not going too crazy just yet. They're diving a Phoenix. There's a tier 2 and a tier 1 up. And I think they realized their mistake. That's one thing that I can say SoaR has done, going a little bit too deep, but at the same time, they're just so far ahead, it doesn't even matter at this point.
No, honestly, I like the ultimate idea behind Metyankey. You're not really very vulnerable when you're using that ultimate in the air. Just barely mistiming it. The Sanctuary was still active from Oceans, but he retreats anyway. It's not the same kind of dive that we saw that Baskin do on the Vamana earlier on.
CycloneSpin running through the jungle right now.
He's
that
not gonna
stun's
go
so
in.
close, and no stun available, so Kiki is going to be rotating in here with Oceans as well. Skeeledon trying to set up, and this is a big fight. Envy, they need to win this if they're going to hold on. Let's listen into SoaR as they try and win this.
Oh, that's so lame.
Multing up. Go on Bacchus. I'm gonna go on Bacchus.
shit.
Actually, I'm gonna go on Bacchus.
Naja beats. Naja on the back. Look right behind you. Baskin.
Fuck.
Baskin, I hate you.
What? Dude, what? Look at Bacchus, no fluffer.
There's a one-hit fucking Naja behind you.
I was
bro.
in the back line.
Yeah, I know what you're doing. You always do. Fuck. That's Wukong form.
Yeah,
I got his form.
He's gonna
Probably
kill.
kill.
He's coming for Unity.
Nothing else.
Maybe.
I have a slow in one.
Okay,
Somebody
somebody
as
else,
well.
please fucking
We're
die.
fine.
I don't want
I'll
to be
guard
the
the
only one that
outfit.
dies in this set, please. Die
Where'd
to
he go?
tower or something.
Where'd he go?
He's under tower and left.
Under the stab him.
Can we get blue?
Yeah.
I
Or
feel
we
like
can dive
this
him.
is like,
I can ult so that
Nah, I'm up
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I'll kill the tower.
You can hear me, right?
yeah. Yep. You made him like form or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, form.
Yeah, this is form. I mean, yeah.
Fuck. Alright, we're trying to assaulting for fun, I guess.
Or Janus.
I'm looking at-
I'm not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be there.
Yeah,
so
just
close.
make sure they're safe. Dude, I was
Yeah, it's
considering
fair.
switching to normal cats to see the range of my weakening curse.
Cool,
Careful,
man.
Bacchus is on the corner.
Let's set up for next gold.
Yep. Snoopy.
Dude, I'm going with this. Dude. I actually
Oh,
feel
and
like I'm gonna
two?
throw up this whole set. Feels bad, man.
It's okay, Snoopy. Wait, what feels bad?
Set up for like.
I think those comms kind of tell the state of SoaR, right? They're in a competitive game. If they win this, they qualify for Super Regionals. Snoopy's whining about how he has the only deaths. Baskin's like, I just switched to normal cast to see the range of my curse, ha 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 ha. And then I think it was Andinster saying, I guess we're just assaulting for fun.
It's good to mix in being being serious than having a little bit of joke at it, because at this point in time, SoaR are very confident with their almost 10,000 gold lead. Not even 20 minutes into the game, Baskin already level 20 for quite a while with this Ravana, just now finishing off his Frostbound Hammer, and we heard just how much he likes diving that back line.
And Jigz is like Mr. Business. He's like, no fun. We're winning this game. I'm making worlds. I'm winning everything. I'm winning this season. He's yelling at Baskin. Baskin, I called 3 times for you to go on the 1 HP Naja. I'm just diving the back line, bro.
Me Baskin. Me dive back line.
I mean, it's one of those things. That's the scary thing about Baskin is that you can't really control him, I don't feel. I feel like he's a player who just kind of does his own thing, but his own thing is so good. You sometimes just have to let it happen.
Sometimes you have to play to your strengths, right? That's the one thing that SoaR have been so good about, you know, forcing the speed buff invades with Andinster on the globals, but now, oh my god, where'd you go? Where did they go?
Back to the fountain with you. And now, Met trying not to join Snoopy on the death list for this set. PolarBearMike caught out, trying to kill Snoopy. He has no ult. It doesn't even matter at this point. 17 kills for SoaR. Cyclone and Jigz are jumping in. Well, okay, well, maybe he's not always Mr. Serious.
Not always the most serious support player in the world, but they know what they have. They're going to try to go for this DSI. Metyankey, agility in the meditation, not going to be a factor at this point. It is going to be that DSI. And now, going for the tower is going to get the tier 1 very cleanly. Tier 2, only going to be Skeeledon alive, but not going to be here quite a time. I don't expect SoaR to keep going into the Phoenix. They still have the Gold Fury to bounce back off of this one.
So dominant. Just complete domination. I'm telling you, man. This group was so hyped up, group of death. And we've seen some really good games with Enemy and Denial, you know, able to find some. Envy put up a good showing against Enemy earlier on today, but no one has been able to do anything about this team. This team looks so good. I mean, you know, different play style, but it does remind me of C9, where just every individual player is showing up, doing their job, and they just work so well together.
They've just been playing together for so long in general. Like, not necessarily on the same team forever, but they've been playing, you know, in scrims, pugs, ranked in general. They have the synergy there. They're all very highly skilled mechanically, and this is definitely their group to dominate. SoaR, if they win this one, which is looking like they are, definitely, they're going to be clinching the Super Regionals, and we'll see just how far away they'll separate themselves from Denial, whether or not they finished first or second. If they finish first, they'll be against Luminosity, so they definitely want to try to get that matchup over Eager.
And again, there's still a chance for Enemy to qualify, although it's really unlikely. Enemy, I think, going to be playing a lot for points tomorrow. Want to get a better seating on the Gauntlet, but man, that Gauntlet, that's going to be an interesting one.
It's like the most scariest thing to see the North American Gauntlet, right? Because we got what? Allegiance, Enemy. Hello, Metyankey? Finish the fire giant. Andinster coming back in for that one. Yeah, so what do we have? Allegiance. We're going to have either Envy and Enemy more than likely.
More than likely.
And who am I forgetting from the other group?
Well, we're about to forget Kiki's life as Baskin finds him. Taunts inside the Gust here, served up. Andinster's to the sky. Oceans and Envy try and make their last-ditch effort to find a push, to get a tower, to do anything, and it doesn't go their way. They do successfully get the tier 2, but they lose 3, Skeeledon, Cyclone, the only 2 remaining. The tier 2 in mid on 1 hit, and this is just going to be it. I mean, SoaR going to start knocking down these Phoenixes. They have a 14,000 gold lead off of, what is that, 2 Gold Furies?
Just about 2 Gold Furies. It's not something that SoaR prioritized, right? They consistently go for the little objectives. You know, they do a little drive-by on the mid-tier 2 tower. They're going to get this mid-Phoenix. The respawn timers, though, from EnVyUs. Are SoaR trying to get some fountain kills? What are they doing here?
Now, so we saw SoaR shut out Enemy, but it was not like this. This has been SoaR playing Assault. Actually, they've just been fighting as much as possible.
I wish I got that comp in Assault.
That's a pretty good comp.
That's a pretty good comp to have in Assault.
No, you would rage because that means your healer re-rolled.
That's true.
And you hate them for it. For any Assault players out there that re-roll their healers, I hate you. Baskin, he's getting tickled.
The
raw snipe
barely did anything to him. He still had about 66% health. Nice and from the sash.
I mean, they know they're not going to kill him. Envy are just kind of diving at this point. They're looking for anything. They do have 2 kills to their name. Snoopy lining it up. No one going to be in range. Oh no! Actually, someone walked into it there.
Oh, they're just gonna. They're gonna.
And they fight, and they go through it.
They're gonna fight Kiki, and they're gonna go try to backdoor this right side Phoenix after killing Skeeledon. Well, actually, they're gonna have to go through the tower first with the fire giant buff. They could easily get it. There's only 3 members alive for Envy. We see CycloneSpin pushing down the mid lane, trying to get anything in response, but it's not really gonna matter.
1 Phoenix remains. You know what? Let's actually listen into SoaR. I'd like to hear how happy they are knowing that they're going to qualify for Super Regionals.
That's the cringiest shit I've ever done.
Yeah, I actually feel even more sick. Holy.
I've been killed.
Help, Mike's gonna
Kill
solve
Mike! Kill Mike! Troll, dude.
Fuck up, Mike.
I fucking hate Mike.
Troll's my fucking super regional.
I actually
Are you
fucking
kidding
hate
me?
I'm dead! Wait. I'm alive!
Oh shit.
I'm not dead! Wait! Did you see that we killed Kiki? I just died again! What is that? That's so...
Hello, I'm back, don't worry. SoaR there, you could hear just kind of laughing that one to the end there. Not really showing too much excitement. I mean, I guess this has just been such a one-sided group for them.
I mean, they were just talking about how much of a feeder Snoopy was at the end there. The only 2 deaths for SoaR. They've been looking like a monster and a machine. So I'm expecting really big things out of SoaR as they make it into Super Regionals.
Jigz is taking a nap. He's like, all right, we qualified. You guys handle the rest of it. Maybe they'll put Ionic in his place on the last day.
And now he can have fun. No more serious Jigz. Let Baskin dive that backline if he wants to.
His fun is sleeping, apparently, and rough set for Envy there. Talking to him, they felt very confident. They felt like they definitely had a chance to take a game. You know, obviously they weren't going to 2-0, but still, though, that's got to be pretty heartbreaking. I mean, they put a lot of effort, I think, into this day, too. We definitely saw them a little bit more prepared, well-rounded overall, but still, I mean, you're not going to be able to adjust that much against SoaR in one night.
No, not at all. Mathematically, Envy are not actually out of it right now.
Are they not?
They have 1 point.
Because they can get 7 tomorrow.
Enemy have 6 right now, so they could still qualify. It's a long shot, but it's still there for Envy. They need to make some serious adjustments and hope for the best.
But again, they could be the deciding factor on that second seed. You know, Denial has the edge right now, a couple-point lead on Enemy. But Enemy, I mean, if they find 6 wins, or if they find 4 wins tomorrow, get themselves, you know, 10 points or 9 points. Math is not easy. I'm adding 6 plus 3, and I still can't figure it out.
That's why we have analysts to do that for us.
Is that why they have analysts? All right, Hindu, break down some easy math for me, because it's not working out over here.
6 plus 3 is 9. 6 plus 4 is 10. 6 plus 5 is 11. Do I need to keep going?
Yeah, that's what.
Have you got it down?
Yeah, I've got it. No, thank you.
Basically, everyone is still in it, although SoaR have already qualified now for the Super Regionals, guaranteed for the time being. But production will come to the rescue and show the actual point situation. Totally was correct, however, in one form. Envy can still qualify. They have to 2-0 Enemy, they have to 2-0 Denial, and then SoaR would have to 2-0 Denial and Enemy for that to happen. But it is possible.
It's not impossible. That's as far as I'll go on that. I mean,
how do you feel about those chances, Drelo?
I mean, I'm okay with that. I mean, we get 4th in that scenario, right?
It's realistic then. No, you wouldn't, because you'd actually come 3rd. So you'd be incorrect with your prediction.
That's the worst spot. That's no one wants to be 3rd here, right? Everyone's talking about how they want to be 4th, but everyone knows that you really want to be 2nd, but no one wants to be 3rd.
Well, let's go onto that game a little bit. For me, it was GG, felt like casuals, because that's kind of how that game looked from start to finish.
I mean, Envy trying to do what they can. The Raw pick they just never got enough pressure, and you could see how well the Janus works up against Raw. He just threw space and times his entire team right in front of your face, and you just kind of get steamrolled.
And so it just kind of fell how it fell, Drelo. No real surprises overall.
I don't think Skeeledon in both of these games never got a single speed buff. SoaR did a very good job of being on time for buffs. So they're preemptively setting it up for those buffs and using their pressure effectively. And Envy also did a very, very poor job of setting up for those buffs and being around those buffs to defend those buffs.
And just because those buffs were down aggro, it just allowed them just to continue to snowball the game, as you can see by the post-game stats.
Exactly. I mean, when your jungler doesn't have a speed buff and the enemy jungler always has a speed buff, you're always late to your rotations. You can't be in the spots you want to be in automatically. Plus, I mean, that's not factoring in all the farm and gold that you're losing from losing those buffs.
And obviously in that game, we saw a lot of kills on Baskin on the Ravana as well, and the solo kill for Metyankey, I believe, at one point as well. Was that correct?
Yes, yeah. Metyankey gets a solo over in the duo lane, but Baskin, again, just doing typical Baskin stuff. There's the first blood set up by Andinster on this Thor, but he was just able to do whatever he wanted. Going into the backline, whether Jigz wanted him there or not.
And this is why Ravana was so dominant, Driller, for a long period of time. When he gets ahead in the early stages, and he's good enough to get ahead on his own, but with support as well, he can just keep going off.
Right. If you sort of get ahead in the early game, and maybe get a good gank or solo skill, and start to get ahead of the enemy solo laner, you can sort of snowball that lead. But Ravana, compared to the other solo laners, falls off very, very heavily mid and late game, or mid late.
All he really does then is just provide some annoyance more than anything else.
Right.
But never really got to that stage with the performance out from SoaR today. And then we mentioned the solo kill, but we do have an interview ready right about now. Janus is standing by with the one and only mid laner, Snoopy.
Standing by with the one and only feeder in that set, Snoopy. We listened to your comms there. A little bit distraught with yourself, I hear.
Yeah. I was a little upset that I was going to be the only one to die in that set, but I'm still pretty happy with our performance.
Well, you guys now have qualified for Super Regionals with that second win. What's the feeling on the team right now?
We're definitely ecstatic. We're really happy to be going into the last day with more of a relaxed point of view, and we don't have to try as hard. We're definitely going to put as much effort as we can into the games, but we're going to maybe lay low on some picks and save that for Super Regionals.
Okay. Well, maybe some more spice in SoaR's back pocket, but talk to me, a little bit about this group, because coming in, we heard it, I was saying to myself, group of death. You guys obviously looked great in the online stages, but we thought Enemy and Denial, we're going to be able to match up to you. Not the case. It looks like you guys have been the death in this group.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case. We definitely struggled a bit with Denial this morning, and we hope to clean that up for tomorrow. But other than that, we definitely have played really strong. And going into the set, or going to this this group, we hadn't lost to any team in this group on the online stage. So we were pretty confident. And we definitely showed that we can be a top team and the best team in this group.
And about your transition into mid, you know, a couple questions still. Maybe not some of the cleanest games all around, but we saw how good your Janus was. How has the transition to mid been for you? Do you feel like you're playing at a high level right now, or a high enough level?
I definitely am playing to an extent where I'm happy with myself, but I could be playing much better, and I'm going to be putting in the time and grinding for that, definitely for Super Regionals, and a little lackluster in some of the games, but I think all around I've been improving slowly, and I want to continue to improve.
What's the difference in SoaR at this LAN? Because I mean, your online stages were definitely strong, but I mean, this seems like a new team.
Yeah, I just want to give a thanks to Luminosity, because they've been putting in the time with us for scrims, and I think that's really what's changed it. We've had probably 4 or 5 weeks of just constant scrims with Luminosity, and they're definitely one of the best teams as well. So bouncing off ideas and bouncing off strats definitely helps a lot.
Andinster as well. I mean, we know, we all remember Season 1 Andinster. The Landinster meme kind of died a little bit, but there was still talks, you know, he was good at lands, but he wasn't great. Andinster has been, I think, I think the best player here. What, like, has he just finally broken out of that shell?
He's the new Landinster, man. This is his element now. He's been to so many lands that he's definitely gotten over his nerves, and he's definitely like the player that he needs to be and he wants to be.
Do you think this is a team that's going to be able to take on Energy?
Oh, definitely.
What are your expectations for SWC, Snoops?
It's definitely going to be us on top, I think, hopefully.
Strong statement from Snoopy. SoaR's mid laner, obviously been through a couple different roles, but finding his spot and I think his home now. That's going to be it for us today. Again, SoaR has qualified in Group D, the first team. Denial and Enemy still on the running, and Envy had some absolutely strong, not even going to say that word. Envy very unlikely to make it here, but they still do have a chance. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And remember, if you guys want to play with some of the best players in the world like Snoopy, you can sign up faceit.com. You're going to be able to compete against the best, win prizes, win chest rolls, win skins and gems. So make sure to go up and sign up today. Maybe you'll be on the stage with this guy next season.
Someday.
Someday. Not all those plebs.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. But thank you guys. Reminder, one more day. Tomorrow, we're starting early. We do have the North American Challenger Cup final starting at 11 a.m. here on hi-rez TV. We can't wait to see you back.